Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So this week's feature match is OTK Purple versus OTK Red War Greymon. We've seen Shoutmon already, we've seen OTK Green, now we're finally getting to the other OTKs. They're a little lower down on the tier, I would say, but I think they can just as easily kind of just steal matches away. So I figured it's time we finally get these on the channel. And what I really like about both decks that we're featuring this week is that both have the potential to close out. So unlike Green OTK, which clears all the security and it can't usually push for game afterwards, these decks can, and that's what's kind of, in my mind, setting them at a pretty decent tier. The only issue is that's all these decks can do. They can OTK, but if they get stopped, that's it. they're done, and that's about all they got going for themselves. But War Greymon is our focus for today, so let's get in here and let's cover this deck profile. Also, don't forget our memory marker for the month is Tanamon. This is our new version that we're going to go with for the leaves on top. They stick out a bit more. They're also a bit smaller than the other ones we have. These are a little more like the picture in the artwork here. So it goes a little bit more like that. And I'll show you a picture of the face here in a second from the old one. But this is what the new one's going to look like for our Patreon reward for August. So if you want one of these guys as a memory marker, if you're playing green, definitely check out that in the link in the description below. And then here's what the basically the face will look like. Just we're not going to use these big flat leaves. Instead, we're going to use the other ones. So just combine the two, and you'll have what it's going to look like. So hopefully we'll have one painted up by the end of this week. So when we're doing our closeout videos, you'll see what the final product's going to look like. So jumping in here, first we're looking at our eggs. I think the 4 of Koromon, just the regular one from the old starter deck, is the way to go. Just because you're not going to be swinging in until you hit into Mega Stage anyway, which means you'll have all the inheritables that you need to make Koromon live to put you to 1,000. Just in theory, you shouldn't ever be swinging with just like your level 5 package because they're not that powerful. You're not going to get any kind of good OTK off of that. So waiting, if you need to wait one more turn to go into a War Greymon, you know, definitely do that. And so your Koromon will be live. But a couple other ones we can look at here is the new Koromon from BT5. And this one, when you attack, if it has Omnimon or Greymon in the name, you can draw one. So that's kind of neat that you can get some more draw power just so you can help you search a little bit more through the deck to kind of dig for combo pieces. But I really don't think it's that necessary because almost the whole evolution line, it doesn't matter which one you pick, you know, it doesn't matter which rookie, which level 4, which level 5, and so on, you know, they all will kind of get you to the same outcome of the OTK that you want to get. So I don't think the draw power is quite as needed, especially because a lot of the Augments that we're playing are the hard play where you get a search, and we'll cover those in a minute. So I think the Augments are going to give you the search power that you need, that this Koromon for just this draw is not necessary. Also, kind of looking at Digimon here, if you want to run a 5th egg, I don't think it's necessary just because you're going to want to keep your Koromons in the raising area so you can go all the way up into that Greymon. Or, you know, if you get your level 5 on feet or in the raising area and you've got your memory fixer, you know, go ahead and promote that level 5, go into your War Greymon and then swing. You know, you're going to be saving it in raising area anyway, so you're not going to be doing a whole lot of egg digivolving necessarily in this deck. So I don't think a 5th egg is quite necessary, but I did want to go ahead and throw these out there just because they are available and they could help the deck in a little bit of a manner of speaking. The Digimon is just kind of cool because there's a lot of digibursting going on in a lot of decks, as well as just a lot of crashing, and just the trash is getting filled up very, very quickly in these new format decks. Lilithmon just trying to fill their trash as fast as they can. So stuff like Digimon could be live. I think if you want to run a 5th egg, he'd be a pretty good one you could look at. Also, we'll talk about a card later on that Koromon does not help. That's a level 5 that you could want to swing with, where Digimon could come in on that card, could be handy for that very particular set of instances. So we'll go ahead and cut these out here and then go into our Agumon line here. First up, we've got the classic one from the starter deck, 1000 DP. The thing about red, though, is we don't have any, jamming abilities for red. So we need all the 1000 DP buffs we can get, or just DP buffs in general. Looking at the other Agumon over here, if it's a Greymon, he gets 2000 DP. Particularly, that's okay. The Greymon part is okay, because if you go into your Omnimon, your Blitz, typically you're swinging for game with that anyway, so you don't really need the DP buff. Also, you're going to get the DP buff probably from other places anyway for that Omnimon. So this one rookie, you're going to miss out on that DP buff for this rookie here. You still could get DP buffs from other places and still be able to crush whatever you need to. This is that 2000 power, which is great because everything from here, from Agumon up to Omnimon, is all Greymon line. So you're going to get tons of value out of this one, this Agumon. Honestly, you could probably get more value out of this Agumon than you would this Agumon with just the 1000 DP, which is pretty crazy because you see this in like every red deck ever, just about. Next, though, we've got their new BT5 Agumon, and this is the on-play one. This is what I was talking about. You don't really need draw power as much in this deck because you've got stuff like this. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and add one Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name among them to your hand. Place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So you hard play this Agumon, and anything he can Digivolve into, you can add to your hand, basically. If you reveal any Digimon that's level 4 or higher, you can add it to your hand, essentially, because of the way this deck is built, we're playing almost nothing but Greymons completely. So you should always be able to grab something off of this. Every time you hard play this Agumon, you will get value off of it. So that's definitely why we want to max out on this guy, just for that consistency over the draw power, because this is incredible. Next is kind of a bit of a flex spot, I would say, for the deck. You could go with a vanilla Agumon, not an Agumon. You could go with a vanilla Digimon if you want. There is the red Agumon that is a 2 play cost, but he's a 1 cost evolution. He's 4000 DP. He is something you could look at, but I would say that something with an on-play effect would be better. So I went with either one of these two. The Agumon here, this is from BT1 on play, reveal the top 5 cards of the deck, add a Tamer from among them to your hand. That's kind of neat, just to be able to get into more Tamers if you need to. But I'm not entirely convinced on this one, honestly, because you want to see this one early game before you get into Tamers. If you don't have any already. But my issue is you play this and, that's 4 cards potentially that's going to the bottom of the deck that you can't grab. That could be a bit of a issue. It might not be. I'm still undecided on this kind of card, the way it works. But that is an option. It helps you dig for your Tamers, and Tamers are kind of important for this deck. Then you've got the 0.0 promo Agumon, and I thought this was kind of interesting because normally you would never hard play this for 5. Just absolutely absurdly, no way. Hard play 5 to pop one Digimon with 3000 DP or less. But we play Nokia, and Nokia, when you play her, she lets you play an Agumon for free, which is one of the reasons we play so many Agumons. One of the reasons we play so many Agumons is so that way she will always be live. We can always play her, and no matter what rookie we have in our hand, it will always be an Agumon, and we can always immediately play it and get all these great on-play effects. So you can get this on-play effect, you can get this on-play effect, or you can get this on-play effect, all of them for free. And I just thought this 3000 DP, you might think it matters, you might not think it matters, but, looking at a lot of these decks out there that are really kind of flooding the field with a lot of rookies. So you've got Yellow-Green Rookie Rush, which is pretty popular. Besides that, you have Lord Nightmon that, depending on the multiple variations of the deck, when they bring out their rookies for free, it might be something that you want to pop with the Agumon effect here. There's tons of different decks where this Agumon could very easily be live. A lot of meta-level decks where this 3000 DP could totally come in handy. So I thought maybe at a 2 of here, because you're going to want to play one of these two at a 2 of, And I kind of just leaning towards this. It's a little more interesting. It's a little more unique. These are our main 12 right here. These are our go-to every time. You know, we want to digivolve these guys in the raising area, and then hard play this one either on itself or with the Nokia. So this is our main go-to Augmons. But I thought, you know, as a nice little tech option, that this Augmon actually could be pretty nasty to have in the deck, just for the Nokia plays. All right, next up is our Greymon package. The first one here is the second reason that we play all Agumons as our rookies, and it's when digivolving. If this Digimon has Agumon in its Digivolution cards, gain 1 memory. So essentially, this becomes a 1-cost evolution if you want to look at it that way. And once we get to Nokia, we'll also cover her. But she lets you, anytime you digivolve anything with Greymon in the name, you can suspend her to basically reduce the cost by another one. So if you go into this Greymon while Nokia is on the field, it's a free evolution level 4. That is amazing. That is bananas for sure. So that alone is a great, you know, combo that you can do. Free cost evolution level 4, but also another 2000 DP. So as long as it's got Omnimon or Greymon in the name, we got another 2000. So combine this one with this one, that's plus 4000 DP for all of our Greymons. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. So at that point, these two combined, we can swing through anything we want, basically in security, and never have to worry about it unless it's an option. Next up, we got Greymon. This is the starter deck one. That security attack +1 is just incredible. I mean, every red deck ever basically plays this card because this inheritable is just really good. 2-cost evolution level 4. That's pretty standard with Nokia. It's a 1-cost evolution now, and it was already incredible. And now you're gonna say I can evolve it for 1 cost? Yes, please, absolutely. So this is what helps facilitate our OTK. This is just one step in the long process of getting that OTK. Next up is kind of our flex spot on what you want to play for your last level 4. We've got this Greymon here. This is the BT1 Greymon. This is just another flat 2000 DP buff. So just like this Greymon over here, the first one we talked about, it's given the 2000 DP basically to everything that's relevant in the deck. This one's doing the exact same thing. The only difference is that, you know, this evolution cost will always be 1 in this deck. This one, you know, will start at 2. Again, with Nokia, you can drop it into 1, but this one can go to 0 potentially, and this one can never get any better than 1. So it is like a kind of just a watered down version of this Greymon here, but they still accomplish the same thing. That can be your first target. There's the security Greymon, which is kind of interesting. I don't think it's what you should go with overall, but I did want to just kind of throw it out there just because if it gets hit in security, you can just immediately play it. And then, you know, you get to skip a whole evolution line and then just go straight into a level 5 on top of it. But that's not really that amazing. Maybe when we get the new Greymon from the new starter deck, the Gallantmon starter deck, you could definitely argue running that one because that one's basically the same as this one, except for it has an on-play effect that it gets to pop something. I did just want to mention it. Then we do have the blocker here. Mostly, this is just a 1-cost evolution that just happens to be a blocker in case of emergencies. You know, if you get to play the Agumon here for free, whichever one you're doing that, you know, you get to go into for free, just digivolving this 1-cost evolution blocker on top of it, you know, either pass your turn or in case you do need a blocker. I would say this deck is so fast, though, and it can be so memory efficient that you really don't need to worry about defense at all. But at the same time, it's already a 1-cost Evo, where these Greymons, you need Nokia on the field to make them 1-cost, whereas he's just already doing it. No nice inheritable, though, so he's just kind of sitting there. Yeah, so the strategy would be go Koromon, go one of these Agumons with the DP inheritable to go on top of it, and then get to hard play this Agumon, right? And then go blocker on top of this one while you're in your raising area going into your OTK level of evolutions. And then you just got that blocker kind of chilling out there, just, you know, to kind of protect you so your opponent can't get any free early swing rookie hits in or anything like that. Just just an option as another one to go into. I definitely don't think that Greymon's the way to go. But either one of these guys is really good, honestly. I don't think there's necessarily a right call. I think for now, though, we'll just go with the consistency, I guess, and just go all Greymons. All right, next up is our level 5 package, and I went for some diversity here. There's lots to choose from, really. I wouldn't say any of them are like, oh, this is the end-all, be-all, you've got to choose this one, or bust. I think they all have their merits for sure. I really like the secret rare version. Honestly, though, 3,000 DP buff inheritable. This alone is just amazing. So if you look back to our other ones, if you go into the Greymon route, right, that does not help, does it? If you go to the security attack +1 inheritable, you lose out on these 2 different 2,000 buffs. But that's okay because you can go with the Metal Greymon that gives a 3,000 DP buff to make up for that super easily. Also, if you go on top of any of your hard played Augments, right? So if any of these that don't have inheritables because you hard played them, you're missing out on tons of DP buffs if you go straight into this Greymon. So you can make up for it with the secret rare Metal Greymon for that 3,000 DP buff for your War Greymon. But that's not the only reason we're looking at this guy. He still has that security attack +2. I know this when attacking, lose 5 memory, but really, you could, if you don't have the pieces to go on top of this guy, and this is just it, everything else, you've got all rookies and champions in your hand, and this is the only ultimate you're sitting on, and you're playing something, I don't know, really anything. If you're playing Rookie Rush, yeah, you could just go for it. Super easy. But if we kick it back and kind of look at this evolution lines, say you grabbed one of these 2,000 DP Greymons, right? And you're sitting on the 2,000 DP Agumon. That's plus 4,000 underneath this guy. So that's sitting at 13,000. Yeah, you're swinging over every mega in the meta, basically, except for, like, Nidhoggmon. Really, you're swinging over everything else. If you just happen to also have the Gigimon, I've removed it already, but if you have the Gigimon, like I was talking about, as your 5th egg, and that happens to be underneath that puts this at 14,000. You're swinging over everything except for a level 7. And honestly, you should never just expect to hit a level 7 because the chances in pretty much all decks is so insignificant that you should just never be worried about it, because if you do, you're just, you're going to be sitting there for a long time because there's going to be nothing that's going to be able to clear that most of the time. So at 13,000, 14,000, yeah, Metal Greymon here, +2 security attack, that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. I cannot argue against that if the opportunity presents itself. If not, the plus 3,000 DP is still just incredible. Next up, we got the starter deck Metal Greymon, and this is the when blocked, gain 3 memory. This is nasty when combined with Blitz, okay? You use this with Blitz, and wow, it just, you're off to the races there because you pass turn and put your opponent at like 3 memory with the Blitz. You swing, and if they have to block you, or they like lose the game, or you clear all their security, if they block you, you just get to keep it on your turn. Ooh, that's so good. Now, unfortunately, this is really... The Blitz combo is only going to be usable on our Omnimons. We don't have Blitz on our War Greymons. But even still, if you're swinging in with a War Greymon checking 3, 4, 5 security, they're probably going to want to block that. And if they do, like, this just punishes them so hard for blocking you. So that's why we went with these as our main. I would say our main ones right here are these guys. And after that, we're going to go into... 2 or 3 copies of the next set. I say 2 or 3 because it's kind of a debate if you want to run 9 ultimates or if you want to run the full 12 champions here. That's just a personal call for sure. I'm kind of leaning for the 9, particularly for the Altarius mode here, if you go with the Altarius mode. So when Digivolving, if a Digimon card with Metal Greymon in its name is in this Digimon's Digivolutions cards, delete one of your opponent's 4,000 DP or less. That's kind of neat. Just Digivolve this guy right on top of one of these other ones if you don't have, your Mega in hand for whatever reason, and you just need some Digivolving to get some draws, a 1-cost Evo and a pop. That's pretty solid. Also, yet just another way to get another 2000 DP buff. The absurd amount of DP additions that you can get if you go Altarius mode on top of the secret rare metal Greymon, that's 5000 DP. And if he's sitting on like one of these Greymons here with the 2000, it's 7000. Okay, and then you go to the Agumon here, that's 9,000. And then you've got your egg here, that's 10,000 DP. If you can't swing over something in security with plus 10,000 DP as an inheritable, there's something wrong with you. But yeah, so just absolutely incredible combinations of DP additions that we can get going on here. So I kind of like him as maybe a 2 of or a 3 of. But let's go ahead and look at the other ones. We've got the Rise Greymon here, and this is nice. He's a 3-cost Evo. Again, you always got to look at, we're playing Nokia as well, so everything that's Greymon, we can reduce down by 1. So all these 3 costs are actually 2 cost if you look at them, if you have Nokia on the field. But Digiburst 2, you may play a red or yellow Tamer card with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. This is kind of neat. The only issue is Nokia is white. So you have to basically go with one of your memory fixers. I would say is probably the best route is to Digiburst 2 to go into one of your memory fixers. And that will help kind of set you up for follow-up turns, so that way you'll have that memory fixer on field. You can go into your War Greymons, because you should always have enough memory to go into a War Greymon. So kind of interesting, but unfortunately, it's only red Tamers, so Nokia is probably going to be the one you want to play the most copies of, with a few memory fixers, 1 or 2, either Ty or Marcus. So playing like 2 copies of this just doesn't seem worth it when you're only playing 2 copies to actually get to use this ability with. So probably not the way to go, but nice and heritable also. If you have a Tamer in play, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn when you attack. I don't think that's an issue, though. We have so much DP giving that you should be able to swing over anything anyways. Nothing should ever be in your way in this deck. And then I did want to just kind of mention the Voltdramon here. That security attack +1 is great. One of the things that makes Shoutmon, I think, kind of like a better version of this deck is because of the security attack +1 that it gets in its Omni Shoutmon, which is, part of its evolution line, so it likes to have those inheritables. It really combos well with the deck. So it has multiple ways of getting security attack +1. Voltdramon is kind of Greymon's way to get there. Unfortunately, you don't get a benefit for the DP reduction, but at the end of the day, you can't argue security attack +1 isn't just incredible to have, and can be very fundamental and needed for the OTK. So I would say kind of pick one of these guys. If you want to go with the 9 total ultimates here, then go with Altarius mode as your third 3 of. If you only want to go with the traditional 8, then I would say go with the 2 Voltdramon to kind of round it out. It feels really good. All right, next we're going to look into our megas here. All right, and this is like the true kind of like bread and butter of the deck. This is what really makes it pop off. I am a firm believer that BT1 War Greymon is still, to this day, the best War Greymon. Now, there's kind of outlying reasons for this. It doesn't have amazing DP for a mega. 11,000 is pretty standard. Lots of 11,000 DP. If you can ever get a 12,000, that feels really good. Just because most megas in the meta are all 11,000 DP. You're in security at least. So you need some DP buffs to get it up here to make it worth it. In this deck, we've already covered it. Too easy. So DP is out of the realm of being an issue. The 3-cost Evo, if you have a memory fixer, perfect. If you've got Nokia on field, you can suspend her and reduce this, which makes these 4-cost Evos nice, because if you have a memory fixer and Nokia, you can go into these 4-cost Evos and keep it on your turn. That is super important, by the way. But the real just amazing thing, and why this is our main mega, is this Digimon doesn't activate security skills on option cards it checks. Security control is huge in the English format. Just hands down, it is one of the most played decks. That's the way it is. Yellow, you don't really have to worry about options in just regular yellow, like Lord Nightmon builds. Not really something you should worry about. But security control is huge, and just being able to swing in and just turn all that off. Also, just being able to swing in and never having to worry about stuff like Jack Raid, so you don't have to worry about passing your opponents, back to your opponent because they gain that 2 memory. You don't have to worry about that. If you're playing against like Imperial Digimon, which is also pretty popular right now because it's getting a lot of tops, this shuts down Hammer Sparks. You don't have to worry about hitting a Hammer Spark in security or a Kakaita's Breath. So just turning all that off is just phenomenal. Also, the turn you Digivolve into him, he does get that security attack +1. So that's 2 security checks. If you're looking at the Voltramon here, that's 3 security checks. If you got Greymon here, that's 4 security checks. And if you're playing the tie that gives the security +1, that's 5 security checks right there with this one War Greymon. That is a full clear, ladies and gentlemen. That is your OTK right there with this War Greymon. If you have the Voltramon in the lineup, that is a full OTK clear. And how you get there is, of course, the Omnimon. You go into the Omnimon after you do that 5 clear, and Omnimon will win you the game. All right, but you can't just have just the 1 stack of megas. Okay, you got to have more than just 4. So 2 to 3 of the other Greymons is what you're going to need. So looking at our secondary, our backup plan, essentially. Victory Greymon is out of BT4 here. Digiburst 2, delete one of your opponent's Digimon without 8,000 DP or less. That's pretty relevant. That's basically every level 5 that's in the game right now that's anything worth, any meta-relevant card, he is killing instantly. And it's when Digivolving and not main. So even if you pass turn with this, stiff 4-cost Evo, it's okay because you can still do this effect, still pop that level 5 that's in your way. So, and that's pretty solid. Also, 12,000 DP just on his own, he's pretty solid, especially because you're going to be Digibursting 2 inheritables away. If you get rid of any kind of DP additions, you're going to be hurting yourself. But since he's an innate 12,000, that's okay. You can get rid of stuff like an Augments and your baby and still be okay, as long as you got, like 1 more, inheritable there. Because basically all the inheritables we have left are going to be either 2,000 or 3,000 inheritable DP additions. So he'll be fine. 4-cost Evo, again, you can make it 3 with a Nokia. Next, we got the new BT5 War Greymon. When Digivolving, if a Digimon card with Greymon is in the in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, which it will be 100% of the time, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with blocker. Go into this and you just clear the way. So what we talked about earlier, if they have a blocker at the very beginning of the video, that can just completely shut you down. If they ever block you and you're going in for that 5 security check, that's pretty bad. That can really mess you up. So being able to clear the blocker away is pretty sweet. Also, a level 6 that has an inheritable is so crazy. When attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3,000 DP or less. I mean, it's not anything too crazy, but it is neat to have an inheritable on a level 6, especially because the plan with this deck is to go into Blitz, or go into Omnimon and Blitz them for game. But if you can't Blitz them for game, at least being able to possibly take out a rookie is kind of nice. 3,000 DP lessens the need for Nokia as long as you have your memory fixer. Last up, though, is Starter Deck 1 War Greymon. For every 2 Digivolution cards this Digimon has, it gains Security Attack +1. So, with whatever kind of evolution chain you go up, at most, you're pretty much going to be at 4, because you're going to have your level 5, your level 4, your rookie here, and then your baby. So that's 4 inheritables. If you ever evolve up and skip the baby, like you evolve on top of one of your hard played Augments, you might need to go into an Alteris mode here to add an extra level 5 in there. So then you've got 2 level 5s and then go into the War Greymon to get that security attack +2. So he innately is doing 3 security checks. You add the Voltramon here and the Greymon, that's 5. If you have the tie on field, that's 6 security checks. So at 6 security checks, basically you can skip one of these steps in here somewhere and still be able to get the full clear. And I think that's huge, is in being able to skip one of these steps, because you might not want to play the Voltramon, right? Or you might not get the right evolution chain to get everything you need. So being able to kind of offset that feels pretty good. So I've kind of actually been leaning towards him being the secondary Mega. It's a real difficult choice. This War Greymon, absolutely the best one to go with, and then 3 copies of one of these. I mean, you could argue just playing one of each if you really want the nice diversity there. You know, that's actually not a bad call. It's just playing one of each of these guys and then just using the one that you need in that situation. If you need to go into the Victory Greymon, you know, go for it. Kill that level 5 on field. It's like, okay, I know I can't win this turn, but I need to take that level 5 off the field because next turn I'm going to die if I don't, because they're just going to go full combo, like with a Lilith Loop or something like that. If you think, you know, it's like, okay, I could probably get the OTK or get really close to it, but that stupid blocker's in my way. All right, I'll go into this one and I'll clear that blocker and then I'll swing. If you got just a full steamroll ahead, you know, nothing in your way, and you can get into this one, drop this War Greymon for the, you know, +2 security attack that he's going to have and just go ham on your opponent. You know, just kind of keep the options open. Next, we got the Omnimon here. We've already discussed it. I've got the full maxed out 4 of. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm here to OTK and nothing else. That's why we're going with the 7 level 6s for the consistency, so we can always make sure we'll go into those, and we'll always have an Omnimon for game. This deck doesn't really do anything else. You know, we don't have control like Green has or anything like that. We don't even have like that diversity that Omnimon or Shoutmon has. You know, they can pop a couple things, you know, 5,000 DP things. Without that, though, you know, this deck can OTK and that's it. So you need to hit hard and hit fast. So being as memory efficient as possible is super important. And then just having the combo pieces is the second most important part. Also, you could argue maybe cutting this down just because of, you know, stuff like the Agumon here getting to search for it, things like that. But I still think that 4 of is still solid just because this is all this deck is doing. Okay, I don't need to cut it down to play some weird tech card if I don't have to. I don't need a delicate plan. You could argue running a delicate plan, but if you're already running this War Greymon as your main one, then it really kind of defeats the purpose of having that extra brick in the deck that does something that your Digimon already does. Next, we've got the Nokia, which is just a phenomenal card. We already talked about its when Digivolving one of your Digimon that has Greymon, Garurumon, Omnimon, or Greymon. You can Digiverse it, or suspend this to reduce the Digivolution cost. That's really great. It's also, it's not gain 1 memory, it is reduce cost. So memory blockers do not stop Nokia. Memory blockers do stop that Greymon that we went over in the beginning. It says gain 1 memory. This just says flat out reduce the cost. So Nokia is very, very good for this deck. I've seen people play it at a 4 of. I did cut it down just a little bit because 1 of is pretty solid, drawing into 1 copy. But there's no harm in drawing into multiple copies. You can just keep hard playing these and then get to hard play an Agumon for free. So getting to play a Tamer and a hard played rookie, like, that's so good. That's so much value in being able to do that. So the 4 of, I definitely understand completely. If you want to go with a 4 of, no arguments. I'm not going to argue against anybody if you think 4 of Nokia is the way to go. But I do like the Ty here. I like Ty more than Marcus. The memory fixer is important. Okay, you got to have one or the other. But with the Marcus, when you swing, you gain a memory back. My thing is, if I'm attacking, I've already got the memory. I've already done my Digivolving, right? The 3 of put me at where I needed to be, and so I Digivolved and I went down to 0. It's still my turn. I can swing. We're good. I'd much rather have the security attack +1 to get the OTK. I went over earlier, you know, you need all these pieces with the regular BT1 War Greymon. You know, you need all the pieces in play to get the OTK off with him. You don't need all the pieces with this War Greymon, but you're not always going to go into this one, you know, like we were talking about. So I think Ty is just so much more important than Marcus is, because gaining 1 memory after I've already done my Digivolving is not very relevant. Okay, it could maybe kind of possibly memory choke my opponent a little bit, but that's not my goal. My goal is to swing and you win. Like, that's it. I don't need to gain a memory. I've already won. So that's just the thought of playing the Ty here. It's just to go super, super aggressive and aggro. And that'll do it for the deck there. Kind of zoomed out a little bit. I know it's a little small doing it in this format, but if you want to skip to the end and look at it, here it is. if you have any weird, you think some of these things are really weird in here, they are really weird because you skipped to the end and you didn't actually listen to the video. But if you did listen to the video, I do appreciate it so much for watching the whole thing. It helps me out a ton, helps the channel out a ton when people actually watch the videos and they don't skip to the end. But yeah, so just these are probably pretty weird to look at, and then these are pretty weird to look at. So if you want to know why, go back and watch the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you would, please like the video and subscribe. Just a little bit of help goes a super long ways. It helps the channel out tremendously, gets my videos out there, gets them seen. And if you really, really want to support the channel, check out the links in the description below. I'll have a link for my Patreon, which is displayed right here. You can get access to my Discord server that I have, as well as you can get the memory markers that we've had. These are just a few of my favorites from the past that we've had. The current one, Impmon's baby, as well as Gabumon's baby as well, Sunomon and Yamon. These guys are super adorable. I definitely love them so much. And every month a new one changes out, so make sure you check that out. As well as we have our new playmats. This is why I recreated this video. It's because our playmats are here finally, and they are super cool. I alternate between the black and white every single month for whoever wants to support this tier, as well as I have a tier just higher than that, so that way you don't also have to lose out on a memory marker. You can get both the memory marker and the playmat just in case you want both. Super awesome support from everyone that has supported in the past and who will support in the future. You guys are awesome. Also, if you want to check out my merch, my Teespring link is in the description below for that. We've got, the shirts that I wear on the channel that has the logo across. I love when I see people representing my merch in public. It is like one of the coolest feelings I've ever had in my entire life. Very, very awesome. As well as phone cases for you people that love Digimon like so much like I do. A friend of mine custom made all these to fit these specific phone cases themselves. So the prices are a little bit higher just because I have to pay her back, as well as make a little tiny bit of profit because of how much, unfortunately, they take for their cut for Teespring. But like I said, if you can't do any of that, please just like the video and subscribe to the channel. Every time we hit a new mile marker for subscriptions, I give out free merch of all different types. 2000K, I think we're doing one of the playmat giveaways. So definitely be subscribed and ready for when that comes.